welcome, welcome. I'm so happy to be here today on World Refugee Day with all of you. Please use the chat if you like to introduce yourselves to let us know who you are, where you're at, how you're feeling. And I'm going to be your facilitator for the day, and the topic is storytelling and how you can tell your story, for example, in job interviews or in your CVs, for example. And I'm going to share my screen with you. So that's the wrong. Just a second. Okay, now you can see my presentation. I hope you can see it. Okay, so the topic today is storytelling. And first of all, I would like to introduce myself. My name is Juliane. I work with an organization called Jobs for Refugees. We are working from Germany. I'm in Berlin right now, where our headquarters is, and it's a very gray but pretty warm day today here. And we have another office in Frankfurt. So we work from 2 cities in Germany, and I will show you a little what we're going to do today. First of all, I'm going to just give you quick information on what our organization does and how we work with refugees and migrants in Germany. Then we're gonna look into I always call it the power of storytelling, why our brain and our heart love stories so much. And then we're gonna get into a method of storytelling, just to give you an idea how you can use stories for the way you introduce yourselves and the way you talk about yourselves. And then we're gonna go into breakout rooms where you get the chance to work on your stories using the method I introduced, and you can share it with each other and give each other feedback. And then we're gonna all meet back together, and whoever likes can, and how much ever time we will have, they can share the story with the larger group. And I'm gonna start with the intro and with the method we are gonna use. And before you go into breakout rooms, you will have the chance to answer questions. So you can, as Cecilia said, you can put them in a chat, and we see that we can answer as many of them as we can. Okay. So what are we doing? What's Jobs for Refugees? Jobs for Refugees is a nonprofit, and our mission is to help newcomers to access the German labor market and realize their full potential. Taking up employment for us is a decisive step towards a successful integration. And we do it by connecting companies and refugees with each other to give them an easier access and to get into contact with them. And we also prepare refugees for the labor market by workshops, job interview trainings. We work with different companies that help with to get them a really professional sense, because in Germany we have a very structured and there are very high bars to enter the job market, and you need very specific ways and specific knowledge to enter that. And we want to really provide that for refugees so they have an even chance and they can strive and be successful and fulfill all their potentials and desires. I've been with the organization only since March this year, and there I'm doing the fundraising and communications. And that's how storytelling comes into play, because A, I love stories so much, and B, it's a really good tool to make people understand what you stand for, what you want to do, and why it's a good idea to give their support to you. So yeah, that's, for example, that is one of our participants. We got it to place her with a job at PayPal, for example. Yeah, so that is one of our success stories. We're always very happy to get feedback from people we work with and how they got successful at the end of the day. And we got to be a little bit of help for them. So why is storytelling so powerful? Across all cultures, we all tell stories and we all grew up with them. So if you think about your childhood, for example, what are really interesting stories or fairy tales or myth or legend? Maybe your parents, your grandparents, your uncles, your aunts, the elders in your community, your older siblings, what kind of stories have they told you when you were little? And what kind of stories did you really like? Like how was the hero? What was the big evil that the hero was fighting? And what did you really like about that? And my experience is that no matter who I talk to, everybody has a favorite story, and everybody grew up with a story that they always like to go back to. And the fun thing is that neuroscience shows us the human brain loves stories. The human brain strives on stories. If you want to change your habit, you change the story you tell yourself, and then it's way easier to change a habit. If you want to stop smoking, for example, what kind of story are you telling yourself? Oh, I'm never going to quit. I'm powerless. I'm addicted. It's so difficult. It's not cool to not to be smoking. That might be something of a story you tell yourself. And if you start telling yourself a different story and you really, really train yourself to tell yourself a new story, then you actually could change a habit and, for example, stop smoking. If you want to stop smoking, it's up to you. So I have 2 slides to give you a little bit of an intro, like what does neuroscience and research tell us about why the human brain likes stories so much. I'm not going to go into much detail. You will get the presentation. You can look at it in detail, or you can even look it up. There are a lot of great studies on why storytelling is so effective and so helpful for the human brain. One thing I like in particular is the rate at which the brain processes images in comparison to words is 60 times faster. That's 60. So you can write someone a statistical overview and you can send them so many numbers and very logical explanation on why you're the right candidate for a job, or why a certain approach is smarter, better, more cost effective. Or you can put all those numbers and all the research you have and the statistics, and you can feed the outcome or the results into a really good story. You tell that person on why you're the right candidate and why a certain solution or a certain product is better. You tell that person that story, they see the images, they go with it, it creates emotions in their brain and in their hearts, and they are more likely to convince them of your idea. And then you slide in all the numbers and the research and the statistics because that also helps. And yeah, and here, that's one of my favorite slides. It has a lot of words, so it's a contradiction to what I'm telling you, but it gives you the, let's say, the research background on what we're doing here. And so if you're interested in that, check out that slide and then you can go further research. I also put some information in the resources at the end of the presentation you can check out if you like. So now we're going to try to figure out what is your story, what's the story you like to tell. I'm going to give you an overview and it's just an introduction. So there's much more methodology at the end of the day. You can find online completely free. There's so much out there. And also what we're going to do here, that's just the beginning. So if you come up with a story today, that's your first draft. Then you can try it out, try how you feel about that, and then you can change it whenever you like. So my first recommendation is when you have a good story, practice it. Practice it, I don't know, every day, every week, however you like, and then see where it takes you. And before we start with a story, we have to think of an audience. You see on that picture, there are so many people, the world is so big and it's so diverse. There are different cultures, there are different mindsets, there are different opinions, there are different looks. And you never tell a story just for yourself, and you never tell a story for the whole world. You always tell a story for a certain audience. And that's what we're going to think about in the first step. So it really helps if you have paper and pen, or if you can write on your device, like you're on your laptop, you're on your phone. If you can type, if you write it down, the best way actually is you write by hand, because that is also, science shows us, it's more powerful for our brain to remember things and to identify with them if we use handwriting. So I recommend you have something to write. Because you're going to take 5 minutes or less to think about those 4 questions. Who is your specific audience? So you want to prepare for a job interview, let's say. So you think about, okay, I'm going to talk to the manager over there. I'm going to talk to HR person, or I'm going to talk to the head of the department I'm interested in. Let's say you want to go into sales. So it's the head of sales I'm talking to. What do you know about that person? And then you can think about what or who those people you're going to talk to, what they really care about, what's important to them, what makes their heart beat faster. And then what is their culture and let's say their background, either like their job background or in education, or in maybe, you know, where they live and what's specific about that place. And the last question is, what do you and your audience share with each other? Do you have things in common? Great, write that all down. So I'm going to give you a couple of minutes. I'm going to check the clock, and you can just think about those questions and what comes to your mind, and really picture your audience. Who is it? What do they care about? What's their culture? What's their background? And what do you share with them? What do you have in common with them? And as always, you don't have to be perfect. Just put down the first thing that comes to your mind. That's probably the thing you should put down. Don't overthink it. And if you don't know anything, then maybe you can think of ways on how you can find out. Do they have a LinkedIn profile? Have you checked out the company's website? Is that company maybe in your neighborhood? Do you know someone that worked there in the past? Do you know someone that works for the rival company? That is also a really good thing. Like ask the rival company, what do they think about the company you're interested in working with? And maybe you know someone that has applied for a job there before, like had a job interview. Ask them, like, how's the process? Who did you talk to? What was their, you know, how did they, what kind of questions were they asking? What do they care about? What's their feeling about it? Anything like that. Or if you're looking for a new client for your own business, what do you know about that client? Why should they buy your product? What is, you know, what do you have in common with them? Why would they buy something that you are offering? What products are they using at the moment? Okay, so finish your last thoughts. No need to be perfect. Everything you put down is probably already really good and gives us a really, really good starting point for your story. And you're going to need the answers you put down when I further explain the method we were going to use now. So let's put your pen away, put it to the side. You're going to need it later, or you can like put the file you put in your notes. Just put it aside for now. So because we're going to talk now about the 3 components your story needs. To start with, we're going to use the most, I would say, like the basic set for a good story. There's more, if you did that first draft and you figure out, oh, that works for me, that's good, you can keep that methodology, or you can do further research and storytelling methods, and you can move on to, let's say, more complex. But what we're going to do now, that is every story has it. You can find it no matter what kind of story, from no matter what culture, you can find that inside a story. The first thing is you need in a story, it's a hero. It's the person you're rooting for, or maybe it's not even a person, maybe it's like an alien or a tree or a car or an animal. So it's something or someone that we are rooting for. That is at the center of the story. We care about that person or that thing. We follow them along in the story. They're at the center of it, and we really, really care about whether they win or lose or whatever happens to them. And then usually like the story starts and things are normal, whatever that means for the hero in our story. And then suddenly a conflict happens. So somewhat of a challenge. And then during that conflict, there can be a fight, like in a superhero movie, for example, because I really like superhero movies and comics. So we have a hero and then it's a conflict. So it's a huge fight and the hero has to show everybody how smart, powerful and daring they are. And then you have a resolution of that conflict. So how can you use those three components for your own story? First of all, you are the hero of your own story. That is important because I know that we're working with communities that are marginalized, such as refugees and displaced people. A lot of people, they only see the part in you that's displaced or that's a refugee. And I think if they only look at that part of you, they lose so many other parts of you. You are a father, a mother, a professional, you are a friend, you are a student, you are a business owner, you are a salesperson, you are an IT person, you are so much more. Maybe you have really cool hobbies, maybe you are an artist, maybe you are a handyman, maybe you're a creator of something. So a lot, because what we actually see also sometimes in job interviews is that people get asked really specifically, like they're supposed to tell the story about their displacement. And I think the only person who gets to tell you to tell that story, that is yourself. If you want to share that story, if that is the part you want to share with people, do it, but do it on your terms. Don't do it because other people expect you to do it, because other people even force you to do it, and because they only see you in that light. Because you so much more, you have strength, you have probably have a big heart, you're probably really smart, and you have lived so many different things in your life. You have gone through different challenges, you have had different struggles, you have different successes than just that one thing in your life. So you choose the story you tell, and you become your own hero in it. That is today. Today it's all about you. This workshop is all about you. I'm not important. It's you and your story. That's the only thing I care about. So you're the hero of your own story. And in your story, you choose a conflict you're battling. So you think about a challenge you as a hero, you needed to overcome or you needed to solve in the past. And that conflict is something, that challenge is something that your audience would be interested in. Because you have, as you're a grown-up person, so I'm 32, I'm still relatively youngish. I have had different challenges in my life. So I could think about the challenges or the situations I had in my life, and I could think, what would my audience care about? What does my future employer care about? My future employer probably did not care that I had a traffic accident at age 18 when I did not have my license. That happened, but I wouldn't tell that story to my future employer because my employment does not have anything to do with driving. But I'm a really good driver now, just to make you feel safe. So the conflict you choose it based on what your audience cares about. And then you tell the story about the resolution of that story. So that could be a happy ending, or that could be the lessons you as the hero learned from that conflict and through going through that situation. So as I said, we're going to do a very basic story approach. It's called the classic narrative arc. There are more out there, but we are using this one for the day. So what you do is you have an exposition, you have a start. That's your regular life at the point of what you're talking about. You're a regular person, and suddenly something happens and the action starts to rise. And it has a peak, it has a climax, when the conflict you were having was at the worst, the most intense. You had to make a decision, you had to learn a new skill, you had to fight whatever happened. And then comes the resolution, so the action, the suspense, the danger, for example, that is falling down. And you can explain them the resolution. So you explain them in the resolution, you explain the new normal. Like, I changed because I overcame a certain challenge. So I have new skills now, I'm more resilient. And because I have gained that new skills and that resilience, I'm the best person for the job you are looking for. So if they don't give you the job after you told that story, then I don't know what their problem is. So I'm gonna jump into the method you're gonna use now. It's called Story Canvas. It's really straightforward. The link for the resource, it's in the presentation. You're gonna all get it, so you don't have to put everything down. Don't have to write it down. We start with a mission. So the first question you answer, and you can all put that in the map that's gonna come up the further I click. And then you can fill out all the little parts that are gonna come up. And then out of this, you can write, or you can just tell your story however you want to. First, you need a mission. So what's your goal with that story? The goal is to get it. Maybe it's to get a job. Maybe it's to sell your idea or your product. Maybe it's to convince your partner to do something for you that they're reluctant to do. You can use storytelling for that. It's super helpful, I guarantee you. And then, oh, that was too quick. Then if you have your mission, why are you telling a story right now? You go to your core message. So what do you want your audience to know? That means after you told your story, what's the most important thought or feeling your audience needs to have? And that, in the case of a job interview, that could be, they should think, wow, that person, I'm going to give a job to them. They are the right person for that job. Or if you have your own business, I want to buy their product. I want to work with them. I want that person as my partner. And they should feel really happy and convinced and excited about that at the end. And they should be able to trust you and the decision they are making. Then we need a hero, but we already have a hero. The hero is you. And then the fourth part is that's a bit more like a cognitive exercise, but also should come from your heart as well. What values do you want to present in your story? So the values on the story you tell should really resonate with your audience, because you as a person, as a single person, you can have different really diverse values, or a lot of them, for example. So you can think about, like, what values do you share with your audience, like with the company you're applying for, or with the client you're talking to. Really try to find a match, or what you think matches. It's not science. You don't need to write a research paper on it. Just really think about and also feel about it, like what resonates with you and them. So the fifth part is really simple. You need a topic of your story. That is like, okay, what's the challenge? What's the situation you want to talk about that really happened to you? And really find something that actually happened to you. Don't make anything up, because usually people tend to know if you just make up a story that never happened to you. And then, of course, when you have the general topic, then really get into the conflict. Like, what was the challenge? What was the, like the juicy, difficult parts? Because those you can highlight, because the difficult parts, they show people how you changed and how you mastered it. And then, as in every theater production, as in every movie, we have to set your stage. So you set your stage. So it's, where are you? When was it? How was the scenery? How were you feeling? How were people feeling around you? How, maybe it's the noises you hear. Maybe it's the smell in the air wherever you are. And you have really tried to make your audience feel like they're there with you. Like if, for example, you were running in your story, like really tell them like how your heart was pounding and how you were trying to go really fast. Like you want to tell them about how you ran a marathon, for example, because one of my friends is training for a marathon. That's what I'm thinking about it. So he tells me about his practice and about how hard he tries and about where's the track he's running. So I feel like I'm with him when he's running and he's really practicing for the marathon. So that was it. So I invite you now, because we did a lot of information, to just take a deep breath. And now I want to invite you to ask a few questions, if you like, before we get into the storytelling part, where you need to, where I want you to work on your own stories. So if you have questions, please share them in the chat. There is a question. I should explain the gap, because in our special case, we have a massive gap generally, and companies are asking for this. Should we write in a CV, or when do they ask about student visa status? Thank you, Julie, for that question. First of all, about the visa status and also about the gap. That is a very, very good question and a super important one, and it's really different culturally. So depending on what country and also on what, let's say, what sector you apply in, there are different ways that people deal with it. So what I can tell you is I can only tell you about, let's say, the German perspective and how I learned about it and what I know how people deal with it here. Here, people generally think it's better to never have gaps in your CV, because apparently people get suspicious if there is a gap. I don't know if that's the case. I would probably ask myself, what did that person do? But I think it's also a matter of privacy. If they don't want to tell, they don't want to tell. But that is me personally. I know people think differently about it. And generally what I know is that people like that they want like a more, let's say, positive explanation to what things happened and not share the negative part. And my recommendation is in a CV, try to be neutral about it. Because if you're neutral, then they can decide if they want to ask about it, and you can decide what you're going to tell about it. And I'm also in favor of being honest. Don't make up anything, don't lie about it. And if they want to know your visa status right away, if that's like a requirement of the application, put it in. If it's not, you can leave it out. If you have a visa status and you want to make them feel really, like make the company and the HR person feel really safe, then put it in, and they don't have to worry about it. Like if you have it for sure, then you can put it in if you want to make them feel safe. But really think about what's the HR culture in the country you're in right now, because it's super different. Okay, if I had displaced, how can I work with international organizations? Hiba, I don't know exactly what you mean by that, because could you please specify? Oh, and Louise in the comments, she is a hiring manager herself. She is giving us some answers, so you can read about that. That's cool. Okay, and Sama, we have your question is, where can I fit my story in a CV or the cover letter? That's really cool, because your CV, it's a good question. Your CV is like the backbone of the story you tell. So when you're reading your cover letter, they need to find some things you mentioned in the CV. You mention them in the cover letter, and they can find them in the CV. So it needs to make sense. They need to work together really well. But really, the story you tell it in the cover letter. And that's actually, if you have a good story for your cover letter, that's amazing, because that is exactly what the human brain loves. It's a good story. It makes sense from start to finish, and they feel like they really got to know you through that letter, and they think that you're the right person for the job. That would be perfect. Okay. Julie, should we tell that we are refugees when they ask about visa status, or is it enough we say we have right to work for 5 years? In my opinion, yes. Because I mean, even there, you will get different opinions. But in my opinion, in terms of being more neutral about it, it's tell them what's your case and that you're ready to work, that you have the right to work, that you have the necessary paperwork and everything. Because in my opinion, that is the only thing they should care about. But I know you will get different answers for that, unfortunately. And maybe Louisa, as you're a if you're a hiring manager, you can maybe put your perspective in the story. So, do you have any more question? Okay. Because if not, let's quick check, because then we get into the breakout session. Oh, that is an interesting question. Mohammed put an interesting question because he wants to do a big transformation in his career. That is super hard, Mohammed, and I think it's amazing that you're trying to do it. Think about what have you done in your job experience in the past, and also your personal experience that makes you ready for that transition. What skills can you transfer? And just the fact that you're ready to transfer, that you really want that, and that you're confident that you can do it, that is one of your biggest assets, because you don't have the necessary experience. You don't. So you don't have to lie about it. We don't have to pretend you have it, but it does not mean that you are unable to do that. So you have certain qualities, you have certain qualifications, you have ideas, you have everything you have, and how can you translate that? And the transition, that is your story, that is your conflict, that is the challenge you're facing. So you have your story. Mohammed is done. So that's the story you can tell people, how you're managing that and how much you're putting into it. Okay, so looking at the time, I think I would like you to go into the breakout rooms. I'm going to share the presentation with you. Here, you can download the PDF, so you have the so you can have the frame you're working on. What we're going to do now, we put you in breakout rooms in groups of 2 people or 3 people, and you have maximum 15-20 minutes, probably 15 minutes now only. And you can use that time to work on your story. So you fill out the story canvas, you can write it down, you can think about it, and you can use the time to exchange opinions, give each other tips, try to help them, try to help each other to navigate the canvas. So, and again, it's just your first try. Don't try to be perfect, just try to be yourself. And it can be, I don't know, it can be just a start, just put in a few thoughts and try to think about what kind of story you want to tell. And then after 15 minutes, we meet back here, and whoever would like to share your story, like it just has to be like 1 or 2 minutes, nothing more. Then you can share your story. So, okay. And if you have any questions, I think you can try put them on the chat, because we all see the whole communication through all the breakout sessions. Okay, so Cecilia, I hope you can put everybody into breakout rooms. Oh yeah, and you will be able to unmute yourselves during the breakout session.
Julian, do you also want to go in a breakout room?
No.
Okay.
I think I'm good. In case somebody needs to like come back or something, then we are here. Mm-hmm. And Omar and Sahid are still, maybe they can work together here. Oh no, now it's only Omar.
Omar, Omar treten nicht bei. Der aktiviert es nicht.
Ah, also ist ja gar nicht, so he's not really at his device. Omar, if you're here, you have to press that you enter the breakout room. And Ahmed is back. Ahmed, are you with us? No, he's gone again.
Genau, der ist jetzt im Breakout Room. Und jetzt ist nur noch Omar.
Okay, but if he's not joining, then...
Wahrscheinlich nicht gerade aktiv am Computer und hat es, glaube ich, nicht mitgekriegt oder will nicht teilnehmen.
Aber ist jetzt jemand alleine in dem Breakout Room, wenn Omar noch hier ist sozusagen?
Ich habe das manuell machen müssen am Ende. Also es sind alle Gruppen von 3 bis 2. Es gibt eine mit 4.
Ah, super, danke schön.
Ja.
Ich will einmal das Fenster aufmachen, es ist so warm.
Wenn die Breakout-Sessions 15 Minuten laufen, haben wir hinterher nur noch knappe 10 Minuten Zeit bis zum Ende der Session.
Wie viel?
Wenn die Breakout-Sessions jetzt 15 Minuten laufen, haben wir anschließend etwas weniger als 10 Minuten nur noch.
Ja, genau, ja.
Hello.
Victoria, you're not muted, so we can hear you in case if you don't want that. Okay, the others are going to be back in probably like a minute or less. So I hope you all, even if there was sadly no interaction in your groups, maybe you got the chance to like work on your own stories, try a few things out. It's not a bad thing if you didn't have a partner to work with. You can do that perfectly on your own. Sometimes feedback is nice, but it's not 100% necessary to be successful with the storytelling method. Okay, people are coming back. Welcome back. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I hope you all took the chance to work on your stories a little. Okay, more people are coming back. Okay, maybe the people who are already back, you can already think if you'd like to share your first draft of your story. It just needs to be 1 or 2. Just a 1 or 2 minute story. It doesn't have to be long. Maybe you can think about whether you would like to share. And if you like to share, just maybe you can write it in the comments, and then we know who wants to take a stage. And don't be shy. It's a first try, and I can guarantee you from my own experience, a lot of first try, they're really horrible, but they're also really good because you did that first step, and then you can like keep changing it and keep improving it and keep playing with it, because it is just, storytelling is a playful exercise. That is the fun part, actually. So is there anybody who would like to share their little story they worked on? Oh yeah, of course, Said. Is there anybody here who would like to share their story, just a 2 or 1 minute talk? But like the structure we talked about, like you set your stage, who are you? And then you tell us about your conflict and how you resolved it. How did you become a hero? How did you change? Would be really excited to hear some of you share. Sama is ready. Yes. So, Sama, can you please unmute yourself? Or maybe Cecilia, you have to unmute her? Or they have to do it?
You have to do it.
Yes, now,
Okay.
there you are.
Okay.
Oh, Sama, I just have to tell you, when I first saw you on the video, I had a feeling that you were going to share your story. When you entered the session, I was like, she should do it. She looks ready already. So I'm so happy. So the stage is yours. Thank you so much.
Okay.
I'm
I'm Samah, and I'm from Syria. And in my culture, we have the Hakawati. Hakawati is a storyteller. I want to be your Hakawati. 5 years ago, I reached Germany. It was not my decision. I came here to do something, then everything has changed. I had to apply to be a refugee, to seek asylum, and there, in the front of a green, shabby cottage, I met my boss. I just gave him my Syrian business card. And after 2 months, I got a job. I'm a refugee who works with refugees, who was raised up by a refugee, but I want to be the newcomer to this world. And I'm celebrating with you the World Refugee Day. And this is the end of the story. Thank you.
Wow, I really like that. And I really like that you told the story about today, about your, where you came from, who you are, and about even about your family and how it makes sense today. So that is perfect timing. I knew why I felt it like, okay, Sama is the woman who needs to tell her story. Thank you. Sahid, are you ready? I think you're still muted. Can you, Cecilia, can you unmute Sahid, please?
Okay.
There you are.
I think now it's working. So my name is Said Al-Nahawi. I live recently in Germany. I lived in Germany for the last 8 years. I'm an English literature graduate from the University of Damascus. What I could just tell about myself that is worthy of telling, that I'm a double refugee. I come from a family where my father is Palestinian and my mom is Syrian. So I used to be a refugee in Syria, and I'm a refugee as well here in Germany. So I'm used to this. But the platform is different and the regulations are different. So what I said about having to be used to what I'm dealing with now is quite a broad topic. So yeah, I enjoy my chance and that I got to live in Germany. I try my best to get where I want to go, and I'm a student of Chiron as well. So I'm seeking a second bachelor, probably a master's degree, if I got the chance to continue my English literature studies. So yeah, that would be it for now. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. I was really moved by that and how you connected also to your family and to your history. And I can really feel that that it means a lot to you. Okay, we can only hear one more story because we're running out of time. I would really love to hear more of your stories, although, so we're not playing favorites. We're just sensitive of all our each other's time. And you can send me your, if you like, you can record a video and send it to me. I'm going to put my email. You can in the comments, and you can also find me on LinkedIn. So last up is Ahmed, I think. Yes.
Yes. Wait a minute. I'm just trying to the video, so you can see how I look like.
It's fine if the video is not working. You can just do it like this. But now you're still muted. Maybe Cecilia, she has to be unmuted again.
Now, are you hearing me now?
Perfect.
Okay, my name is Ahmed. I'm from Somalia originally, and I grew up also in Kenya, and I live currently in Germany, particularly in Bremen for the last 7 years. I came in this country as a young refugee, and I also have same similarity with the other people, particularly with Sama. I sacrificed everything that I had in my life to have to get a good perspective about my education, to continue kind of my education that I had it in Somalia. And I got it a lot of challenges, and I sacrificed to learn the language, because the language is the basic thing when you want to leave a foreign country. And then I also engaging with the refugee. I'm helping with the refugee because I'm a refugee, and also I'm also sacrificing also myself to help the refugee, so that they can, when it comes about the language, translator to guide with them during the hospital visitors or other kind of sectors. And that's like, that's my experience. And I think we have also the other people same similarity. Thank you.
Thank you, Ahmed. And I really like how, because you're very diverse in everything you do, you give us a lot of information about how much it means to you. And I think that's amazing. I can feel your heart, and you want to help and to create a better world. And I think that is amazing. And now I would recommend that you pick one thing, because you gave us so many information that my brain is, I'm trying to focus on one thing. So it would be really great if you make it easier for your audience to focus on one thing. Maybe you help people at a hospital, for example. So pick one story where you really made a difference because of your skills and of your engagement, and because of your heart. If you made a difference for someone, pick that and tell only that story. Because if you tell me that story, like you take me to the hospital with you, and then I know how you're fighting for people, and I know exactly what you're doing. That would be my recommendation for you.
Thank you.
So I'm gonna do real quick my presentation. So what now? First thing is practice makes perfect. That is, especially with storytelling, it was really moving, and I'm really, really grateful that you were so brave to share your first draft, because I know it's not easy. So you have all my respect and my love for that. And the second thing I always tell people is, remember to have fun. Stories are fun. If you remember from your childhood how much fun you were having, hearing stories, telling stories, sharing everything, that is the fun I want you to have when you tell your own stories. You become a hero, you become larger than life, and you enjoy it. That's what I wish for you. Even if you're in a job interview and it's super stressful and you're so excited and nervous and everything, if you tell your story, you can do like, oh, I got this. I know, I practiced, I can do that. So I put a lot of resources. The presentation is in the comment section, even a link to download, or I will share it with Kyron, and maybe they can put it on their platform too. And you can get in touch with me. My email address is also in the comments. You can find me on LinkedIn, and I'm happy to hear your thoughts and your feedback or your stories, anything you want to share. Okay, please, can you please, okay, wait, I can also share it again. And then, because, oh, we're 1 minute late. I'm so sorry. That's not very German of me that I'm a little late. No, I'm just kidding. Thank you so much. A big round of applause to all of you for working really hard, and happy World Refugee Day. I'm so happy you're all in the world, and I'm so happy that you are alive and that you're healthy and that you're with us and that you're changing the world for the better. So I'm really grateful that I got to facilitate for you, all of you guys. Okay, have a really good day. Enjoy the rest of your day. I hope it's not raining. It's raining in Berlin like crazy. So I hope it's better wherever you are. Bye-bye. Thank you.